to become an animator, I must be good in drawing. Let's see our drawing. What the heck is this? What waste of time. Let's ask Uncle Google something.
So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. My name is Husna with metric number 1811382, and I'll be presenting on the animation process. So, as we have been enjoying animation for over several decades, it's important to understand the process and the techniques being used in the animation process. So here I come with a video to give you a very general idea about what is actually an animation process. So let's watch.
Hi guys, I'm Tom Law. I'm a storyboard artist for Y2B4. I'm going to show you the storyboarding process for an episode called Baby Bears on a Plane. Basically how it'll work is I'll get a basic note of Grizz enters the first class area and walks around. For some shots, the show creator will have a very specific idea of what he wants, so he'll do a really rough sketch. I'll take that and I'll do a much more cleaned up version of it. I'll add more poses to show Grizz actually opening the curtain, and then try to pose it out and make everything super clear so when it gets sent over to animation, they have no questions of what to do.
Hi, I'm Duncan Joyner and I play Baby Panda.
Hi, I'm Sam Nino. I'm 9 years old and I play Baby Grizz on Y2B4.
Whoa, this place looks expensive. Are you a king? Good stuff.
Wait, no, stop, baby. No, baby. I need that freckle. Spit it out.
Hi, I'm Marcus Spade, animatic editor for Y2B4, and I'm going to walk you through the animatic process. These are the panels here in purple, and what I'll do is I'll time those out to match the dialogue that's down at the bottom.
You haven't seen nothing yet, Cupcake.
You haven't seen nothing yet, Cupcake.
My next step in the process is adding temporary sound effects and music. In this next scene, Grizzly is sitting in first class and watching a movie. So here it is without sound effects. And with sound effects. I continue this process for the entire episode, and this is what my finished project looks like when it's done.
This is the most amazing thing that has ever happened to me.
What are you up to? Don't have a seat, do you? Don't worry, I've got the coolest place for you to sit. Hey, check out this cute little stowaway I found.
Here, set him down on the controls. Welcome aboard.
Hi, I'm Manny Hernandez, the director of Y2B4, and I'm about to walk you through the post-editing process. So originally, this is the front of the plane and our action hero Todd Eagle is coming out of it. Unfortunately, the clouds are going this way, which makes it look like the airplane is going in reverse. What we had to do is ask the art department to create the back of the plane by greening out the rest of it and just putting this piece in there. We could still save the animation. Sometimes a shot comes back and the camera movement is also not working. This is the original. It's just kind of doing a soft up and down. And here our post-editor created a rumble effect to make the audience feel like the airplane was in danger.
And then there was that one part where you punch a guy so hard he split in half. In half! I can't believe how awesome that fight scene was.
From this video, in general, we know that there's storyboarding, voice recording, sound effects, and also post-editing. So as presented by Sister Aisha just now, there is 5 types of animation, but today I'm going to more focusing on 2 types of animation, which are 2D and 3D animation, because they are more common nowadays. So if we look at this picture, I'm pretty sure that it's very easy to differentiate between 2D and 3D, because anyone can point that the left side is the 2D and the right side is the 3D. But what actually is the difference between these two animation? Well, the process of the production of these 2D and 3D animation are quite different actually. So this is 11 steps in animation production process, but actually not all these 11 steps are included in 2D animation production. This is because there is few steps that are not included for several reasons that I'll be explaining after this. So before we start, let us take a quick view on this table first to see the differences between this 2D and 3D animation. We can notice here that there is a slight difference in step 2 for both 2D and 3D, and there is no involvement of step 4 in 2D, and also step 6 and step 7 are also not involve the 2D animation processes. So that's basically the difference between 2D and 3D animation processes that I'll be elaborating more after this year. So step 1 is all about the concept and the storyboards. This is when the animator is creating the concept that combine all the scenes and the scripts, while the storyboarding is a hand-drawn or a computer-assisted sketch to show how the scenes will be played out. There are 2 important dimensions in storyboarding, which are time dimension and interaction dimension. Time dimension illustrates the sequence of the scenes, like what's come first, what's next, and so on, while the interaction dimension shows how the various elements in this film, such as transitions, sound effects, and voiceover, are interacting in one another. So that's basically for step 1. For step 2 is the animators are creating the characters. To make a 2D animation, we have multiple single drawings. You can imagine it like this. There is a still camera that can take many photographs in a rapid succession, and then you take the pictures you take many pictures as the person walks towards you. So each of the photographs correspond to an individual drawing in the 2D animation. So you can imagine, right, how many pictures are there. And also there is such things we call keys and in-betweens. So keys is the important drawings that convey the extreme movement of the characters, and usually the first drawing always the key, while in-betweens are the remaining drawing and less important compared to the keys. So that is 2D animation. For 3D, we have 3D modeling. What is 3D modeling? Because in 3D modeling, we move the characters like a puppet. The most common technique that are being used is a simple object, or called as primitive. The primitive can be a single line, a vertex, or even a circle. Then they are being reshaped and manipulated by a 3D software animation program to build the character that we want. Yeah. So this is the example of multiple single drawings for 2D and 3D modeling for the 3D animation process for step 2. So texturing is the process of coloring the multiple single drawings or the models. This is when we allow the characters to have color and final detailed texture. As you can see on my left side, there is examples of multiple single drawings and model that has been colored, or we also call as colored storyboards. Next is rigging. What is rigging? Rigging is a process of establishing a skeleton that can be controlled to regulate the movement of the character as desired. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, step 4 does not involve 2D animation. This is because in 2D we already have the drawings and not the skeleton or the model that has to be moved. For a better understanding, let us watch a simple video about what is rigging.
Hi, I'm Brian Green, a rigging technical director here at Pixar. Rigging is the process of adding controls to a digital model that allow animators to move it around and act. When you look at the way a living being moves, every motion they make causes a reaction in every other part of their body. For instance, when I smile, it's not just my lips that move. My cheeks bulge, the skin around my eyes crinkle, my chin stretches out to accommodate the motion. We call this deformation and displacement. In rigging, we have a toolbox of hundreds of different deformers that we can attach to the surface mesh of our characters. All of them represent mathematical formulas that define the relationship between the many points that are affected by the motion. For instance, I can start rigging Sully's mouth by adding a simple deformer called a rotate. The underlying math here is trigonometry. I'm going to add another tool called a repulsor. This basically puffs things in and out. Add this to the cheeks and link them, and then when we move his jaw, his cheek bulges. That's better, but it's still just the beginning. Sully's face alone uses over 500 deformers, and that's just his face. We can take a similar approach to rigging the characters' bodies too, adding deformers that define a relationship between the knees and the calf, the tail and the rump, or this tentacle and that tentacle. After we got the physiology right, we need to remember that these characters are film actors. So the kind of motion that they may need to make might be a little more extreme than a regular monster. So we push it a little, gives them extra life so they can be extra exciting on the screen.
So I hope you can appreciate what is rigging. Next is step 5. Step 5 is actually the combination of actual process of animation and the voice recording. So actual process of animation is specific for 3D only because this is when we bring the characters to life. Meaning to say, we make the model to move as in real world. On the other hand, for the voice recording, it is for both 2D and 3D, and this is when the voice actors will record the scripts that has been provided to them. So after the actual process of the animation and the voice recording, here we come to the emboweling the lighting. The first thing to understand is there is no lighting as in the real world in 3D world. Therefore, it 100% depends on the animator's skills to emulate the look of the lighting. Besides, great cinematography is always challenging to achieve. Convincing cinematography in 3D animation are even more complicated. So, good camera angles and techniques is very crucial in order to produce the best cinematography in 3D animation production. So here is some examples of the pictures of before and after the embowing, the lighting, and the camera shots. So this one, I hope you can appreciate the difference before and after the techniques. Okay, so next is the process of rendering, which is obviously is being used in both 2D and 3D animation production. In 2D, we combine all the keys and in-betweens, while in 3D, we combine all the short scenes. So here we come to the last 3 steps of the animation production. For step 9, it is a compositing and special function. So what does it mean? In simpler words, it is a process where the renders are made available to edit and touch up. Next is giving foley. This foley is a process for inserting the sound effects in order to help the audience to have the feelings of a nature environment. It can be editing, such as from the swishing the clothing and footsteps to the squeaky doors and the breaking glass. Yeah, so that is step number 10. And in order to create such sounds, a range of props are being created. So the last and final step is editing and final output. All the elements that have been created before, such as the recorded voice, the sound effects, the composited renders, are combined together in order to create a cohesive animation as expected in the beginning of the process. So yeah, in conclusion, animation production is a very complicated, tedious and time consuming process. So I hope after this we can appreciate local, of course especially, and international cartoons in order to show our support. Before I end, there is a quote by John Lasseter saying that computers do not create computer animation more than a pencil creates pencil animation. What creates computer animation is the artist. So by that, I end my presentation. Thank you.